Hey guys, Mike here again with Success Media Solutions, and today we're going to talk about the EIDL and the PPP loan, and can you use it for marketing for your business? All right, guys, so lately, there's been so much misinformation out there with regard to the EIDL, the PPP. What can you use it for? What can you allocate the funds for in your business? Can you use it for marketing? Because that's one of the questions that I never get. People want to know, can I use it to buy business equipment? They want to know, can I buy a new location? Can I, open up another business? Who can I pay with it? And the one question that I very rarely hear is, can I use it for marketing? Can I use it for advertising of my business? And the answer is yes.
Yes, yes, yes!
Right? As a business owner, part of your budget should include marketing and advertising expenses, which are considered ongoing expenses. So yes, you can use it for marketing. Before I go into some of the things that you can use it for, I'm gonna go into the restrictions and the things that you cannot or should not use it for. Now, full disclosure, I am not a CPA. A lot of these things are still in gray areas, right? Because they constantly keep moving the goalposts, it seems like, with what you can and cannot use these funds for. So you should consult your own accountant. You should consult your own CPA. So first and foremost, you cannot use the funds to pay dividends or bonuses to either yourself or employees, right? That's something that is restricted with the EIDL loan. The other thing that's restricted is repaying debts, right? Or repaying what they call long-term loans. It's funny because you can actually use the funds that you get from the EIDL to pay back credit cards. If you're using your credit cards, your business credit cards, as a way to, finance operating expenses, that is something that you can use the EIDL for. I'll get into that when I cover the things that you can use the funds for. Another thing that you cannot use it for is to purchase fixed assets for your business, right? What does that mean? You can't buy real estate. You can't buy a new building for your business. You can't go out and buy a new car or a new truck or something like that. Another area, in my opinion, that's kind of a gray area that the guidelines say you cannot use the EIDL funds for is repairs, physical damage, and replacement. If you're running a business, and let's say, I'll give you a scenario. You're running, I don't know, an accounting firm, or whatever, any kind of business, because every kind of business nowadays needs a computer. Let's say your computer breaks. You need a new computer to run your business, right? And in the guidelines, it says you can't use the funds to buy these things because supposedly the funds, it's an economic injury disaster loan, right? It's supposed to just keep you afloat and fund expenses that you had prior to whatever the disaster or the economic injury was. Well, if your computer broke and you don't have a computer to run your business, you're gonna need a new one, right? Now let's talk about repairs. What about if you're an Uber driver, right? And your brakes failed, or your motor blew up, or the transmission failed. You need to repair your vehicle so you can continue to drive and be an Uber driver. So some of those things that it says you cannot use the money for, to me, are gray areas, right? And that you should consult your CPA about, because in my humble opinion, these are things that should be covered. And if you need to repair these things, if you need to replace these things in order to continue running your business the way it was before or prior to the pandemic, then it should be covered under expenses that you can stay within the guidelines and spend the funds on.
Are you not entertained?
All right, so one of the other things that the guidelines say that you can't use the funds for is for an existing federal debt, right? Like maybe I would imagine a student loan or an existing SBA loan. It says you cannot use it to pay off an existing loan. However, what's weird is that in the guidelines for what you can use it for, it does list the IRS as one of the expenses that you can use the EIDL loan funds for. So Go figure, all right? This is another gray area. I'm gonna touch on that a little bit more. If this is your first time on my channel, guys, consider smashing that like button below, hit the subscribe button, send it to a friend, send it to a business owner you know who might need this information or who might find it useful and valuable. So now I'm going to talk about some of the uses that you can use the EIDL and PPP for. I'll get into the PPP a little later. Marketing and advertising is one of the ongoing expenses, or should be one of the ongoing expenses you should have as a business owner, right? If you're running a restaurant, if you're running a dental practice, if you're a chiropractor, if you're an attorney, you should have a marketing budget. And not just because I run a marketing firm, it's an expense that as long as you're invoicing it, right? As long as it's an account payable. Let's say you're running commercials, or you're shooting a commercial, or you're running ads online or on the television or on radio. As long as you have an invoice, it's qualified as an expense. If you're one of the fortunate ones who qualified for this loan, use the money to get some exposure, especially now, right? With everything that's going on now, people might not know that you're still open. If you are still open, run some ads, market your business. Take this as an opportunity to advertise and let people know that yes, we are still open, yes, we are still doing business, and you should come down and support us. The other thing that you can use your EIDL funds for is payroll. Yes, you can use it for payroll to either pay yourself or to pay your employees, as long as what they're doing are business-related services. So in other words, you can't just take money as the CEO or the founder of the company to pay yourself some arbitrary bonus, okay? You can, however, pay yourself if you have records showing that prior to what we're going through right now, you were paying yourself, $7,500 or $10,000 a month, then yes, you can continue to use the EIDL funds for a payroll to yourself or to your employees. Now, a quick caveat with that, as long as it doesn't overlap with the PPP. So in other words, you can't use the funds for the same thing that you're using the PPP for. So the PPP was primarily for payroll, right? You can't pay yourself simultaneously with PPP money and then also with EIDL money. What you can do is pay yourself consecutively. So let's say, for example, your PPP funds ran out to make payroll, you could then pick up where the PPP left off and pay yourself that way.
You understand?
I believe I touched on this, but the other thing that you can use the money for is to pay off business credit cards that have incurred business-related expenses, right? Because credit cards are not considered long-term debt. And what's considered long-term debt, I believe, is 12 months or longer. So let's say, for example, you ordered some inventory, or maybe you paid the light bill for your office on your credit card. That is something that you can use the EIDL loan for.
Alrighty then.
Another gray area that's up for debate, that's causing some issues, is whether or not you can buy a vehicle as it relates to your normal business operating expenses. And if I had to guess, and like I said, guys, consult your CPA, but if I had to make an educated guess, and those of you who watch my channel know that I have a background in the automotive industry, right? I used to own a small buy here, pay here independent car dealership. And let me just give you where I'm going with this. So in the guidelines, it says that you cannot buy a fixed asset, you can't buy real estate, you can't go out and just all of a sudden buy a car. But what if you're a car dealership, right? And back when I was running my car dealership, we had what's called floor plans, right? They probably still do have that. And essentially what that is a credit line to buy cars, right? To operate your car dealership, right? We had about $250,000, little more than $250,000 of credit lines to buy automobiles that we would then sell to the public. And this isn't a loan. It's a revolving credit line, right? That we would use, go to the auction, purchase cars, and retail them to the public. Now, if you're a car dealership, I would imagine, and once again, I cannot emphasize enough that you should consult your own CPA on this. But if I had to guess, I would say this should be an allowable expense. Because if you have a floor plan where, before what we're going through right now happened, caused you to not be able to pay your floor plan fees, that should qualify as an expense that you could use the EIDL money to get you back on track and get your dealership to a point where it was before the pandemic. So that's a little gray area. I mean, I know, in the guidelines, it says that you can't buy, these types of assets for your business because essentially it's to just keep you afloat and do what you were doing before. But to me, you might be able to get it qualified as an expense that you could use the EIDL funds for.
Oh my God!
In the guidelines, it says that you can make payments as an ongoing part of your business expenses. So for example, rent, if you own your establishment, if you own the building, it would be mortgages, right? So you can make those payments. However, you can't pay them down, right? And here's where these weird restrictions come into play, right? Because they're telling you that you can make payments towards your mortgage on a building that you own. However, you can't use it to, I guess, refinance and maybe pay down the loan. So you're at a lower amount or a lower principal amount for the debt or for the mortgage. So, that's one of those crazy things, but, that's what it says in the guidelines.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
As of today, I'm shooting this video on July 22nd. As of today, there is approximately $130 billion still available for the PPP loan. So get in touch with me, guys. I'm gonna be able to help you through the process of applying for these loans, helping you get approved for the loans, and then help you with what you need to do to stay within policy and follow the guidelines for spending the funds on your business. But once again, thank you so much. Have a good day.